All right, so what we got going on here this morning is, for the ones that's been kind of keeping up with what's going on so far, is I've been building a mailbox slash sign out of scrap parts and old truck parts and just scrap metal I got laying around, different stuff for the last little while in my spare time. So I've got the sign pretty much figured out how I'm going to, put it, and got most of the work already done on it. The rough end work, I still got to take it apart when I get ready to set it and redo everything. But what I'm getting to now is I'm actually going to build the mailbox, the actual mailbox that we're going to receive mail and checks and packages in. Uh, so I didn't want to just go buy, whatever biggest mailbox they had on the market or whatever you can find at the store and then put it on my stuff after I'd done all this work to it. So that was the whole point. I was going to build something from scrap, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get us a layout point here. Anytime you build something, it don't matter what you're building, you need your reference point. You need you something to take measurements off of, something to keep your stuff square. So what I'm gonna do here to start with is I'm going to get me a straight line established on this table, and then I'm gonna get me a square point off of it. So I know I got it. Don't matter if I'm sitting sideways or whatever. I'm going to have me one straight line and one perfect 90-degree angle that I can actually take some measurements off of. So that's what I'm basically going to do right here, is just get me a straight line and make me a square point. So anytime you're making a square, unless you got some kind of GPS where you marking an exact point somewhere off a global position, we don't have that. So what we're going to do is just basically get an eyeball of somewhere where we think is about center, and we're going to get us one straight line. And it don't matter if the line's off to the left a little bit or to the right a little bit. As long as you square it up, you got a square reference point. You may not be dead in the center on something like this, but I'm going to try to get as close to the center as I can, just rough. So it's going to be probably somewhere in this area right here. And if it's off a little bit, then it'll be all right. We're going to call that about the center there. I'm going to come on this side over here. I'm going to do the same thing. Get me a rough mark point. So I'm going to call it somewhere in here. All right. I said it may not be perfect center of the table, but what I'm trying to get is just a straight line at this point. It looks like there's some oil, grease or something on this table here. Go ahead and get that mess wiped off now, otherwise it's going to end up all over all your stuff. Every time you touch something, you're going to end up with it on it. And it'll get all over your metal. Try to weld it, it ain't clean, it'll be skipping and popping, cause you all kind of trouble. So I'm gonna get my measurement here. I'm just gonna pop me a straight line across there. Chalk box. Let's see how far you was off anyway. Just for kicks. So it was actually off out of center. What did I say we had? 33 quarters, 31, call it 31. 29. It's off about an inch. So we'll just go ahead and move it over. That way we'll have more room to work with. We'll just go ahead and move it over an inch. We popped it. I said it don't really matter, but we'll have more room on each side of the table to work with if we are in the center. We just disregard that line right there. We'll pop us a new one. so once I got that marked straight line where I'm gonna call it my reference point, then what I want to do is I want to go back here and I'm gonna get about center ways to start with, which that's 5 foot. We're gonna go 30. We're gonna go 30 inches. Then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna square my mark up with that 30-inch mark. Then I got me a straight line that I'm square off of. I can square it both ways. Actually, I'll hold it. What I'll do is I'll hold it here. And I'll just take this chalk box and I'll pull it all the way across and I'll line my mark up till it lines up with my chalk line. And I got me a reference point square that I can take measurements off of. Now, the chalk ain't going to hold up for very long, so it's best to mark it with something on both ends. That way, if it rubs off, you can repop it if you need to. I could actually take this red pencil here, see if it'll hold. I don't know who came up with this crayon mess in these pencils here, but I used to do a lot of building, and I wouldn't really like to be building with this crayon mess here like this all day. You spend more time resharpening it than you would actually making your measurements, and you don't think about how much time you waste on little stuff like that. You got to pull a knife out of your pocket 20 times a day. Spend 30 seconds or 45 seconds sharpening a pencil. You do that 20 times a day, you wasted a lot of time. You do it all week, you wasted a whole lot of time. You do it all month, and you wasted even more. I don't like that little mediocre stuff you tend to keep doing, wastes time like that. But that's just me. Some people like that kind of stuff. They don't pay no attention to it. It's just part of the day. If I got to do something, I'm keeping having to do it over and over and over again. I'm figuring out how I can get rid of not having to keep doing something like that over and over and over again. All right, so we got us a little mark here that should stay a little while we marking, and if it goes away, I can see where it's at. I'll go back and repop it. So once I got me some kind of measuring point that I can measure with, then I can kind of get my bearings going of what I want to actually do, what I'm going to use. I already got an idea in my head what I'm going to build. I ain't going to tell you exactly what it is right now. I'm just going to start building it and let you see it start coming together. And it won't take long to figure out what it is. But we're going to take some regular flat sheet metal. And I don't have any kind of plans. I don't have any kind of measurements. I don't have a bunch of fancy tools. I basically got, a hand grinder. I put a Metabo blade on it or a cut-off wheel on it. I got a plasma cutter in there if I end up needing it. I got a welder here. Basically, I just got some flat sheet metal. I got some sheet metal, some 12 gauge metal. That this is what we're going to start with. This is all I got. I got some metal. I got a couple hand tools, and I got an idea in my head what I want something to look like. So this is the first time I'm actually building something like this out of scrap all the way from just scrap metal to a finished product. I've done a whole lot of building. I got a big background in, you know, carpentry and all kind of stuff over the years, but with metal, this is the first time that I'm gonna be building something with just a scrap piece of flat metal. I do a lot of work on trucks, frames, heavy duty stuff like that, but this little thin stuff, we're gonna build it. If we make a mistake, we're gonna let you see it. We're gonna let you see how we come back and fix the mistake, and we're gonna show you what the end product looks like. So this is basically taking nothing and making something out of it. So, alrighty, I've come up with me some rough end measurements out of the top of my head. I wrote them down on a piece of paper here where I can mark what it is that I think uh, that I want it to be. And need a regular tape measure. This is a dummy tape measure. You see all these marks on here? I don't read tape measures off of dummy tape measures like this. All these marks here, a real person that builds, they don't want all this bull crap all over the tape measure. They just want a regular tape measure. So mess like this, it's Chinese mess. I'm gonna go find me a regular tape measure and I'll be back. All right, so I got me a real regular tape measure here. And the difference is I like a regular tape measure that's just got measurements on it. 16ths, eighths, quarters, halves, 3/4, 1 inch. The difference in these two tapes are one versus the other. You see the difference? Depending on which way you got your tape turned upside down, you can't get a regular inch measurement. It's in uh, millimeters. I don't use this kind of measuring system. I don't know who uses that, but I don't use that. I use standard measuring system. You see the difference in the tape? So if I use this here tape all day long, I'm gonna waste a whole lot of time trying to figure out what my measurement is. So we're gonna get rid of that tape to start with. We're not even gonna play around with it. That's good for rough end stuff, but when you start getting down, you want to be precise and you want to be fast. You don't need that. And we're gonna go 36 on that first one. That's gonna be my total length. So I'm gonna come out here. That's why I told you I need me a reference point to mark with. So I'll come out here and I'll pop me some lines. See, we'll go 18-inch way. And this is the same system you'd use if you're laying out a house. If you're gonna build a house, uh, you want to lay it out, get it square, set your batter boards up. You've got to have a starting point. You got to have at least one starting point. All right, so let's get someone else out of the way. All right. So we're gonna need this here. Okay, that's gonna be put your finger on that right there and hold it. Same thing with this. We're going to put the chalk box up there, and then we're going to come back and right here, hold it right. Come back, make us a little. You can take some clear coat if you want it to spray something on the table. You didn't want your marks to go away. We used to do it like that when we were metal framing on construction jobs back 20 some years ago. We would take clear coat once we went there and popped our lines out on the concrete. We would take a regular can of clear coat or something, and we would go there and spray over the top of that line, and it would stay there for until we didn't need it anymore. Don't matter how many times the floor was swept or what went on, it would stay there. So all right, so we got the total length established. And then at the back bottom, I'm gonna go 29 at the back bottom. No, so I'm gonna be right there where you can't freaking mark it. Got a hole cut out right there on the table, so we're gonna get as close to 29 as we can get. Now I want it to be 21 and a half at the front. It's best to go back and double check. So 21 and a half, 21 and a half will be 10 and 3/4 each way from your line. So it don't, I know what it is, but it's still, I always go back and double check my stuff because it's easier for me to double check it than it is for me to just be in a hurry, assuming everything's good, which most of the time it is, but it never hurts to double check it. Then spend 2 or 3 hours doing something and find out that you made a mistake somewhere that was simple. And now you got to go back and do a whole bunch of work to fix it. So this is going to be my basic parameter here. Put your finger on that right there. It looks pretty big for a mailbox, and it is pretty big, but for what it's going to be, you can't go too small with it. So I need to, yeah, I need to keep it a certain size. It's pretty close. All righty, we're going to take a break here for a second. I got to get my metal here and get it laid up, and I'm a little short on one, so I'm going to have to extend it. So give me a second, and I'll be right back. So what we got here is after getting my measurements in my mind the way I need it and what measurements I think I need it to be, I'm a little short on my height on my steel plate here. So we're just going to have to add a little bit to that one end. It's going to be running on an angle anyway, but we're going to just have to add a little on to it. This project here is going to require a bunch of cutting and tacking anyway, so it ain't that much of a big deal to add a little bit onto it. It's going to be a lot of that going on. Just gonna make sure our stuff is square end to end. And we're just gonna come out here and add us a little piece on. All right, so what I said I was gonna be here was 32. Just what I want to be right here. 32. We're hoping it'll come across and be long enough not have to add another little piece on that corner there. So, I'll have to still add a little piece. Should have had my metal just a little bit longer. Hold that right there. It's all right. It's only metal. We can piece it together. We don't have it. I ain't gonna go buy another whole sheet to get it out of it. So we're gonna use what we've got. But I'm gonna take a second here and I'm gonna cut this off. We'll come back. So it's always better to have one piece if you got it. But if you don't, we're just going to, make what we need out of what scrap we got here. So our piece of sheet metal weren't quite big enough to make what I needed to make in the measurement that I needed to make. I could have downsized it a little bit and used the one piece, but my final product would have been smaller than what I wanted it. And even though it would have worked, it weren't what I wanted. So what I'm gonna do is just add a couple pieces of sheet metal together and make it where I can use it to the size I want it. Oh yeah. That's one big difference about working with metal instead of working with wood is if you cut a piece of wood too short, that's too bad for you. you're gonna have to get another piece of wood. But with metal, you always can put it back together. It might take you a little bit of time, but if you don't have what you need, you can, put it back together if you need to. Want to get your metal all warped up, just take your time and just spot it here and there and let it cool. Because as soon as you start getting that metal hot, it's going to do like anything else we'll try to do up under heat. It's going to try to move. We're just going to let this sit here. I got to make another one just like it. So I need 2 of them. So I'm going to have to do the same process on another piece. So I got 2 pieces.